and Kerklunk. The Hanson clunking of the Astros being unmuted within 25 seconds of me going live. That seems to be the time frame for what it takes for me to get set up and then unmute this glorious microphone. Good evening. Good evening to all. We are back. I know, right? Us back on a Wednesday doing more racing. Who'd have thought it? I'd have never thought it, honestly. It's like we've done this before, but we are back. Yes, we are. For round 9 of the DSL Sprint League. Coming up to the business end of the Sprint League, I may add. This race and one more, I think this Portugal tonight, and then Austria next week, and then we are all done skis for this Sprint League. But I'm here, I'm excited. Hopefully the drivers are excited as well, and those that hop in to come say hi, come have a chat, a nosy and a gander. What is all of the DSL good stuff? Hope everyone is okay, having a good time. So yes, round 9. Portimao, Portugal. One of my personal favourite circuits to race. One of the most challenging ones if you are running 0 assists. That is for certain. The traction on some of the exits on this circuit are very, very difficult. And some of the braking zones going downhill and slightly uphill as well in some places can force you to lock up, not once but twice, maybe 3 times. I certainly did earlier on in the evening, doing some laps with a couple of the drivers, locking up my rears in the dry and in the wet, and the fronts, most of the fronts, the front tyres were taking a paggering earlier on whilst I was driving a Ferrari and then a Red Bull. Of course I was driving a Red Bull at some point this evening centimetre. Hope you're well, buddy. Del Boy as well. Hope you're all groovy. But you had a good weekend and a good week to follow so far, given it's only Wednesday. Hope you're all feeling confident and excited for tonight's race. Always promised good racing to Portimao, from what I can remember, in the leagues that I've raced in prior to the ones at the moment. Well, although I'm not racing right now, obviously. I'm here commentating. But the races that I've raced in previously, racing has been good around Portimao. So hopefully tonight, a little bit of the same good stuff. Oh, well, man, I am all good, matey. I'm not too bad. I'm better now. The day had been a little bit of a rocky one, which I don't know if AJ is here or Fresh Agent, but they was both in company with me for a period of the time today, and man's mood's been a little bit choppy and changey. I've not quite gained momentum throughout the day, but I'm a lot better now. I'm chilled now. I'm in a good mood now. Had some music on. Got myself ready for tonight's proceedings. So all good. Hope you're well as well, Sterling. Always good to see your face in the chat. Speak of the devil and he shall appear, as AJ hops into the chat as well. Hope you're well, matey. Hope you're feeling all funky. Grumpy 46, absolutely. No, I was. I'm a man of integrity, and I'll happily own up to when I was being a bit of a grumpy little so-and-so, and I was. No doubt about that. Speaking of favourite people I love to see, Mr. Turbo's in chat, and with his son. Hope you're both well. Yourself, Turbo, and you, young Master James Mason, and the family. All of the above. Hope your Turbo household is all fit, healthy, and happy on this glorious Wednesday evening. Well, glorious where I am anyway. It's lovely in the sunny side of West Yorkshire. As I take a short drink real quick. Still, it won't be a good teammate tonight, chap. Suck at this track. I mean, I have faith. I have faith in you, as drivers have apparently wanted round 2 of the discotheque party in the pre-game lobby, it seems. The lights going up and down the field. Those lads getting those hands warmed up for the short qualifying and the first race of the evening. Mashing away at the controllers. Don't be exerting all that energy, lads, into your thumbs. I know how flimsy some of you are. So let's not tucker yourselves out too quick, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at this. Here we go again. Here we go again. We've got a lobby full of pranksters, it seems, over at the DSL side of things over the last 2 weeks. Unbelievable. It is indeed. Indeed, it is good, Agent. Indeed, it is. We have started something here that is now going to be forever a thing in every lobby that we run. But I digress. I think we are all full up to capacity as far as I believe. I could be wrong. It's only 25 to 8, so we don't really go as of yet. How many was we expecting, if someone can confirm to me? Because I didn't check the attendance, because I'm a good team member and I didn't check the important information. GG's to me. But was we expecting a full grid tonight, or is 19 the peak of the numbers? As I try to find my lighter, there it is. I'd imagine we will be... Full grid was confirmed for tonight. Okay, so we shall wait a little bit longer, because we couldn't have got 19 at the minute. Let the latecomers funnel in. Because all the full-time drivers, as far as I'm aware, are here. Look at that. Even Mr. E69, now on time, is here. On time. It seems he learnt from his first mistake of being late to the party. Now, he is very much E69 now on time. For when he shows up. Things you love to see. These drivers learning the ability to read time. GG's to you, sir. Top tier stuff from you. So who is it that we are waiting on? If one of you could politely confirm. Just given the time is all. I know we've got a nice little window still before we get up and running. I think about 1:45 is it that we go. So there's still a little bit of time for the lads to get in. Oop, there was 20 and now there's 19 again. Someone came as quick as they left. Someone put half a foot through the door and then retreated immediately, it seems. We got in the lobby, so let's have a quick rundown of the drivers so far. We got, as we mentioned earlier, the man, the myth, E69 now on time F1. James Mason, young master James Mason, currently above his father as well. Storm Twister, Flecky 321. The man, the myth, the fossil that has come out of league racing retirement, and out of the woodworks he came and rejoined us this season. Reading as well, Exotic Planes, leading the way in the drivers and the constructors in that Williams. Del Boy, one of the most biggest pains in the ass is Del Boy on circuit for all the right reasons. He's a hard man to pass and he's not a fun man to have being chasing you. So stressful time. Fresh Agent 47 in the Ferrari. One kidney Jim. Another returning driver late on into the season as well. Tempo 4K. The man, the myth himself. AJ the Esprit laser guy. Sterling, one of my favourites. Hello to you, good sir. Kurt Mistro, who's just said hi in chat as well. Good evening, Kurt Lee. Hope you are well, matey. All that jazz. Anger David P hopefully keeps his composure tonight on circuit. Doesn't showcase some of that angry in the first, second and short qualifying. Absy, forever reliable on circuit. Cinderfella, my favourite gamer tag in the lobby. I'm going to mention it every race and then the next season as well. Risky Andy 666. Let's see how many risks he looks to take tonight on circuit. The boss man himself, DSL Senna 94, the dashing looking chap that he is. Someone called Hanson46, who he's just somebody. And then we've got a second spectator here. Look at this. I've got a spectator friend for the evening. One of the drivers couldn't be present to race tonight, but politely requested if he could hop into the lobby with us and spectate the race from a spectator's point of view. And I've known Mercy for a long time, raced with him a long time as well, so I trust him, the lads trust him, who is in charge of things around here as well, so why not? So Mercy's got a front row ticket tonight, a VIP pass, if you will, to the racing's proceedings. Nice. Can't say no, eh? So we've got 20 drivers in now. I am eager to get this race on the way. Bistro Maestro. Both works. There we go. Green ticks being lit up like a Nike factory. Ticks everywhere. Bang, bang, bang. We are ready to get this show on the road. Nice. I can't wait. Hope you're all excited as well, drivers and all of that alike. Good evening. Good evening, Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson enters the chat. Yeah. Into turn one, motherfucker. Yeah, anyway. Evening to you, Mr. E69. Hope you are well. As it looks very dry in Portugal for the short qualifying. Yeah, Morgan Freeman. Yes, that scene from Wanted is still one of the best scenes in any movie out there. And for those that haven't seen it, hop onto YouTube at some point and just search Morgan Freeman scene Wanted. It's hilarious. Morgan Freeman saying mother effer is one of the funniest things. It really is. It's absolutely top tier. But anyway, back to racing. Back to the matter at hand. The important stuff that you're here for, not Morgan Freeman cussing his little head off in a movie. It's race cars on a circuit. As I mentioned, looks dry is what it does. Looks very nice weather for the land. Some of the boys earlier was doing some wet weather practice, and this circuit is a handful in the wet, but for me it's a little bit more enjoyable in the wet stuff. Unfortunately, it's looking very much bone dry, it seems. So we will find a car. Yes, we will. We'll get on board the Mercedes-Benz. Who was it? Where? In fact, no, it won't. We'll get on board the man, the myth, the legend, Flecky321. Someone has retired from the session already, which I'm going to assume that's a pit lane retirement, and I can very much guess why as well. But moving on from that, we are going to hop on board Flecky321 here. See how he goes when he gets on to setting his first lap of the session. Put him under some pressure from the commentator. Not that it's his first rodeo, he's been here before in leagues that have had commentary. Granted, the commentary that he was under was with two people that are a lot better at it than me, but I digress. This is coming flying through sector 2 into 3 he comes, looking to settle the car now, get some heat into that tyres I should say, not the one tyre. It's not a Reliant Robin, although that would be great to watch, is a race with Reliant Robins around a Formula 1 circuit. But anyway, we'll keep on board the Red Bull here of Flecky as he looks to start his first lap of the session. So we'll get all the hood off, just give you the full view. Yes, we will. As he comes flying into turn 1, you want to be as brave as you can do through there, but the track limits on the outside of the circuit are punishing, and because just the nature of the corner, understeer mid-corner can wash you out wide, and track limits breached, lap time deleted. But not for Flecky, it's at the moment. He's looking neat and tidy into one of the first heavy braking zones of the lap. As I mentioned earlier, downhill. Braking downhill is so hard if you're running ABS turned off. It's very easy to lock up a wheel going downhill, and also the traction as well on this circuit as the car went flying up the hill there. Very easy to lose the rear end of the car, given it is uphill and the car is working overtime to get those rears gripped up and planted, and up the hill it went. Again, Flecky looking tidy though and neat on the lap. So we'll see how this puts him when he finishes his first run of this short qualifying session. Final corner, he comes, foot firmly pinned to the floor, easy flat through there in these cars. Across the line he goes for a 119.175. Lovely stuff. Can you just watch your language in chat, please, matey? I don't need to see you in there cussing out drivers and stuff whilst I'm trying to do a job over here, my guy. You focus on your racing, please. Thank you very much. So Flecky there setting a decent time of a 119.175 as my eyes almost stopped working there for 30 seconds. Tidy lap with some time to be had, I would imagine, given some rubber getting laid down now from the boys up and down the field. Evening, Snacksy matey, hope you're well across the pond, well, up the pond, somewhere over that isn't the UK, in the Netherlands. Hope you're all good, matey. Got Wonky in the gym here looking to set his first time of the session in the McLaren. DRS enabled up the hill. He goes across the line. Bam! With a 120.069 on the fringes of the 119s. Good lap there from the McLaren on his first lap of the session. First agent setting that gauntlet down nice and early in the Ferrari as well. Great stuff there from you, sir. Down the field we go. I am all good, Snacksy matey. Thank you very much. I am all Gucci. Speaking of Ferraris, the Ferrari's teammate, the man that makes the turbo, flying through the final corner. Again, easy flat in these cars. I can promise you that. Across the line he comes, buying with a 122.930. Nice little tidy lap there from Turbo on his first run. Good stuff from you, sir. Down the field, yes. Delboy across the line he comes to set a 118.836 again. The lads are looking quick and tidy on these banker runs. Impressive stuff in the first few minutes of this short qualifying session. Lovely stuff from those guys. Hang on a second, P1 and P2 here have apparently said anything you can do, I can do similar, with a 118.086 from First Agent, and E69 very much matching that time down to a T with a 118.086 as well. Don't see that many times in Formula 1. Great stuff there. We'll keep an eye on the top runners during this qualifying session. If that's what we're setting on bankers, then once this circuit gets rubbered down, we might be in for a treat here, with some guys being almost neck and neck, and very much neck and neck on those lap times. Great stuff from you gents. Let's be on board Redding. He's on an invalidated lap, so we'll get off board him real quick. Let's find a guy on circuit who's doing something fun. Is a boss man on the lap? We'll have a nosy. We'll have a gander and find out is what we will do. He possibly might be. Battery's being dumped into the final corner. He comes. And across the line, possibly into the pit lane he comes. Never mind. Wah. Oh. Excuse me. Now take a drink real quick. Well, I am a little bit confused here to why fair enough. Okay. Never mind. Okay. I am a confusion. So why Mertz is in sort of qualifying. I thought he wasn't racing, sir. Anyway, I digress. Moving on from that. Risky Andy on an outlap in the Williams, so we'll keep on board him. Returning to racing. I think he's missed the last few, I believe. Could be wrong there, but I've not seen him on circuit for a couple of races. So a returning face nonetheless. We'll see how he goes on his second lap, or second time lap, I should say, of the session. I'm going to assume it is dry throughout the throughout qualifying and the races, since no driver has reported any rain in the chat. Usually drivers are very quick to mention the rain if it's there, because as we all know, racing drivers are a set of moaners. So, wet sprint, ooh, lovely. Things you'd love to see is a little bit of moisture on circuit. Get that. Love that from the game. I thought you wasn't racing, Mertz. I thought you were spectating, and I'm just like, I was looking down the leaderboard, and you've got a lap time down. I'm like, okay. I was confusion. I am confusion, for that matter. I am confusion. You got pressured into it. Peer pressure, peer pressure, peer pressure. Mate, no, wait, you can at least let me know, you absolute plebratron. Anyway, all sorted now. Confusion out the way. Absolute pleb. Let's get on board the Mercedes-Benz of AJ. Said he was having a little bit of a hard time earlier in the sessions we was running. Couldn't quite find the groove. The irony that I couldn't quite find the groove during the sentence there. But hopefully tonight he can get into a rhythm, get some points on board, like I know he's very much capable of doing. Into turn 1 he comes. Let's get on board the car. There we go. Into turn 1, 2 and 3 he is coming. This is one of the worst corners on the circuit. You want to be just feather the throttle through there, mid-corner. Don't get the power down too early. Up that hill, it's so easy. Everyone today, in every session, lost the rear of that car going through there. Every single time. Also myself and Storm Twister, which I know he won't mind me mentioning, but me and him was having a hard time going through that part of the circuit. It has got through there nicely though, and navigating the rest of this circuit very tidily indeed. Again, up here you go now. Awkward braking zone. Gets on the brakes nicely though, massaging those front brakes into the apex. Lovely stuff from you, sir, thus far. Looking at a tidy lap in the Mercedes Benz. Second to last corner he comes. Power down as early as you dare. Now it's pinned to the floor. Oh, that's a very bad place for that. Has to be whilst he's on a timed lap. That's ridiculous is what that is. That is absolutely ridiculous. That is absurd. I cannot believe what I have just witnessed there, to be honest with you. I cannot believe what I've just witnessed. That is incredible. Incredible. The lack of awareness there is terrible. That is absurd. That will most certainly be being looked at afterwards, after the race, and all that malarkey. Oh, dearie me. Dearie me today. I am in genuine shock. Especially Agent comes across the line and sets it fastest lap. Quickly pipped though by E69 F1 with a 117.697. These two guys up the front of the field are absolutely rapid tonight, it seems. Very much on it. That is insane from these two up the front. They've got very fast slowing the end of the pit lane and letting a Merc through. Oh man. Oh, nah, sucky, dude. That's unfortunate. I don't know how much we can do about it. To be honest with you, because it's 5 minutes now from the end of short qualifying. We're a bit far in to try and rectify any in-game kind of blunders that are crappy, man. Sorry that's happened, mate, but from my side of things, I don't think there's much we can do on that front, apart from you just get your head down and a recovery drive all the way through the session. You was parked on the apex, Angry Davey, whilst AJ was on a time lap in the middle of the final corner. You was literally parked on the apex, and then as AJ tried to come past, you moved out a little bit left and he ran into you because you were just sat in the middle of the corner, my guy. It's on the VOD. I was on board AJ's car, so it's there for you to see after the stream is finished. And no doubt it has been clipped, but you was parked in the middle. Yeah, well, again, just said you was the middle of the apex, mate, unfortunately. And AJ's come around the corner and you've moved out off the apex and straight into him. Which, well, no, not much can happen now, mate, unfortunately. So, at the moment, after the race is a complete different matter entirely. But we'll deal with that after the race, as we've got 3 minutes left of the short qualifying session at the minute. The guys at the front very much separated by basically fucking nothing at the minute. E69 on a 117.697. Fresh Asian not far adrift in P2 on a 17.871. And Kurt Michaud again has looked extremely strong. The last 3-4 weeks has looked incredibly strong. Drove really well in both races, looked very good in qualifying. Again, not far adrift in the half. Let's see if he can pull a couple of tenths and maybe challenge these guys for P2. And who knows, maybe a cheeky pole as well, as we're on boarding right now. Actually, as he is on a timed lap, I think he's absolutely ragging the bones off this Haas at the moment. So a time lap is what I'm going to assume he is on, holding 5th through there. I usually nip down into 4th, get the car rotated through. He is in 5th through there, getting that car planted and through that apex, carrying a lot of apex speed as well. Looking good in the Haas, I must say, is Kurt Michaud. Into the last stages of that lap he comes. Final corner as well, foot pinned to the floor through the final corner. Now DRS wide open. Ping! Here it comes back, being very much dumped as he finds a little bit of time, but not enough. That is still a cracking lap though from User, 118.003. Great lap nonetheless, even if it wasn't enough to pick the guys further up the field. We've got traffic central at the minute. It's a procession of cars. Look at that on my minimap bottom right of the screen. There's more colours there than a packet of Skittles. There is cars up and down the field. DSL Senna coming now through Sector 2. Nicely on the power in the Alfa Romeo. Into purple Sector 2 as well has been set, according to my little gizmos in the bottom right of my screen there. Let's see how much truth there is in that purple sector, or if the game is lying to us as it has done in the past, saying purple sectors are being put down. Looking tidy though, and he's very much capable of setting purple sectors. Is Senna across the line. He goes P4, great lap with a 118.62 262. Sorry, E69 finding more time at the front of the field. 117.219. 69, almost into the 16s. The lads mentioned it earlier in a party, whether we were going to see maybe a 16B breeze, and that is very much on the cusp of his 16s, as nigh on as you can get, I would say, given a couple of tenths or so. First Agent now on his last lap of the session in the Ferrari through turn 4. Up the hill he comes. Down into 5. Heavy braking zone downhill. Easy to lock the front. Want to hook up the apex as good as you can. Very nicely hooks up that apex. As nice as ever. Very nicely on the power as well. The rear's not getting spooled up at all. Carrying speed through there. Down one gear, down a couple of gears now. Get the car as straight as you can before you get on the power. Wheel as dead straight as you can there. Great stuff there from the Ferrari. He comes up the hill into the most awkward braking zone on the lap for me. So easy just to get it a little bit wrong. If you're steering first and braking later, you lock up the front tyres, get it all kind of wrong, lose time. Absolute shit show for the rest of the lap. But not from First Agent at the minute. It's looking tidy in the Ferrari from the man in P2 at the moment. A couple of tenths to find, nonetheless, to get... Oh, excuse me, I do apologise, as I get a hiccup through Sector 3. Across the line, here comes, though. Has he found more time? Yes. It is not enough, though, to take pole away from E69 F1 in P1. That is a gigantic lap in P1, I must say. Almost into the 16s. GG's to you, sir. Love that. Kurt Mistro as well, extremely strong showing. In fact, from P1 and P2, those two guys dipping into the 17s. P3 Kurt Mistro. I mean, come on, let's give it to him. A 118.003. He's basically into the 117s. Come on now. Come on now. It's basically the 17s. So P1, 2, and 3 in the 17s, give or take 300ths of a second. But then if you look here, from P4 all the way down to P10, 118s. Then from P10 down until P15, all 119s. So each driver separated by basically nothing. Then Redding and Turbo down the bottom of the field, separated by nothing as well. Things you'd love to see is just a grid being separated, whether it's in a few drivers or a large portion of the drivers separated by a couple tenths, a couple hundredths, a couple thousandths of a second up and down the field. Great stuff there. And great stuff from E69, who takes pole in the short qualifying session. GG's to you, sir, for that lap. Hiccup Hansen, I know, right? Just right at the end of the lap, just it's like, oh god. I tried stopping it twice, and my body was like, nope, you are hiccuping is what you're doing. So, as I said, E69 takes pole in the short qualifying there, setting out a great lap in a 117.219. First Agent, not that far adrift in the 17s also, 17.761 from him. Kurt Mistro taking up the third spot in 118.003, and as I mentioned there, the rest of the lads up and down the field separated by borderline nothing. GG's there for everyone involved. We go at 10 past, no worries, lads. Yeah, I know, mate. Well, no doubt it will, just I do the business, get things clipped, all that jazz, and you know what I mean. Even to you, matey. Can you happy swear? If it depends on the extremities of the swearing. I don't mind a fuck yeah. I don't mind a get the fuck in kind of thing. You know. Perfect. Completely fine with that. Absolutely. I will allow. I swear myself when I'm doing commentary. Sometimes it comes out. Now, we're all adults here. Granted, we have some younger viewers that roll in here and there, so sometimes it's nice just to keep it a limit sometimes. Hello, Wunkini Jim, matey. Well, Wunkini Gaming, I should say, in the Twitch chat. Hope you're well, dude. Mate, absolutely, mate. Sometimes a recovery drive is the most satisfying drive sometimes, because navigating your way through the field, keep it in the track limits, jobs are good. Exactly that, Hunkin Gaming. Exactly that. Neat and tidy, no penalties. Get through the first lap. Get through turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, where all the madness happens and the carnage happens sometimes. Get through that little bit of shitstorm, and then just head down, find a rhythm, pick off what you can. Job is a good one. So we go at 10 past for all those that wasn't here in chat when that was mentioned, or isn't a driver, and you're just sat here chilling, enjoying the show, all that fun, good stuff. We got 10 past. Give the drivers a chance to sort some things out, as we mentioned a few weeks. Drivers have children, go tend to the children, give them a kiss goodnight, for the other lads, get a drink, go to the toilet, or just simply just have 5 minutes just to go, oh, okay, let's get ready for the race. And myself, a quick break to not be talking as much, which doesn't happen most weeks when we have this break, because I feel awkward being sat in silence, so I end up talking anyway. A grid pen will be applied for the feature. Zingo. Absolute zinger. That's not what you need in the feature race. Very wise words there from Mr. RR Turbo in chat. No need to win on lap 1. I think there's a small handful of the quicker gentlemen that could heed that warning. No need to win on lap 1. So let's do nothing crazy, gents. No, I mean, let's do nothing crazy. Jamming in the party, mate, the best way to do it, my guy. I've got my Spotify in my headset whilst I'm doing commentary. Just currently at the moment, just vibing away to Eminem. Just, you know what I mean? Waiting for the show to get on the road. I do after my... Yeah. Well, if we see Aston Martin completely skip turn 1, then we know what has happened there. Absley has said, fuck it. When there's a will, there's a way, and I will find a way. Can we mention the mechanics in the pit lane all trying to morph into one? Me and AJ was watching the VOD back from last week, and I mentioned how big a mechanic's head looked in his helmet, and he alerted me to the fact it was the mechanics merging into one. So the guy's helmet looked massive, which it did. If you watched it back from last week, the VOD back from last week, sorry, whilst we're waiting for the race to start, there's a mechanic in a bright yellow, like a white and yellow helmet, and his head is massive, honestly, it's huge. But now those three guys are kind of just slowly merging into one mechanic. That must be how race engineers are made in Formula 1 teams. We all thought that there was people, turns out they're robots, and they just parcel them out like they're working for Amazon, basically. Just, you change one tyre, you change the other tyre, you change the other tyre. Just shovel them out. And the crowd as well, on the balcony, look at those fans. The lady in the yellow shirt, the guy in the red shirt, and the one in the black and red shirt clapping away, as enthusiastic as if he is ready for the racing. Look at him, he wants that to start fist bumping and everything. He is hype. He must be called Brian or something, that guy in the red and black shirt. Only a Brian would be that excited for a Formula 1 race around Portimao. That I can assure you. Right. Time killing ramblings over. 10 seconds until lights out. Here we go. Break has been had. Hope all drivers are ready. I'm ready. I'm as ready as I can be. As ready as I ever am for lap 1 of our races. As we've got 5 lights. The small delay, as always, from my side of things. A very long delay, and away we go. Slip and slide from a couple of cars. I'm going to assume that rain is to be expected later on in the sprint race, and obviously not at the start into turn 1. The guys come. It rides on the inside of the Alpine. A little bit of contact made, not quite, but not much space. On the inside goes the Haas there. look at Maestro taking a window of opportunity and sending it into turn 3, not making that move stick. Yes, he did, in fact, on the McLaren. No, he did not. I'm completely wrong there. He's not made that move stick on the Ferrari in front, got out of that knee, and Tempo getting the run out of the hairpin there, almost on the half. Let's get on board the McLaren and follow this man through into sector 2 up the hill. These guys come for the first time in the first race of the evening. Looking the entirety, a yellow flag at the back end of the field. I think someone got out of shapes and some cars have avoided a little bit of contact and a little bit of calamity. That's the matter of Mercy. A late call up from Mercy tonight. Was going to spectate and then decided, fuck it, I'll race instead. Love that. Sometimes that urge is there to get on circuit, and then he said yes. Car going around at the back of the field of Sterling, waiting patiently as ever on the apex. GG's to you, sir, for abiding to racing rules there. Never easy to just sit there and wait for things to happen, but he did regardless. Good stuff there from you, matey. Love that. AJ now pressurizing the back of Turbo and One Kenny Jim here. Around the outside he goes. Does AJ, the SP laser guy, around the outside of the McLaren and the Ferrari. Not too sure what happened to One Kenny Jim there in the McLaren. He was there and then he just vanished at warp speed, it seems. Out of absolute nowhere, he was there. Then he just went off, and on his way he has now gone up the field. I'm going to Trondo as Cinderfella now he's not under pressure, he's applying the pressure. If anything, is Cinderfella on the back of Del Boy here in the Alpha Tauri, lap 2 of the race. Into sector 2, these two guys go. As I mentioned earlier, Del Boy is a fortress to get past sometimes. That man is a bus, a double-decker bus at the most. That man is not a little coach bus and not a single-decker. He's a double-decker to get past is Del Boy sometimes in that Red Bull. So we'll see how Cinderfella gets on. 7 tenths behind now, almost a second behind Del Boy. Falling back a little bit. Speaking of Del Boy, he's on the back of the other AlphaTauri. Is him. So we've got one AlphaTauri trying to attack Del Boy, and Del Boy has said absolutely not. I'm going to counter-attack you both here. I'm going to attack your teammates is what I'm going to do. Around the final corner, these guys come. DRS going to be enabled after this lap. Battery being dumped though nonetheless. The tow at Portimao is ungodly. It's unlike any other circuit. Down the inside he goes into one. Not quite making that move stick there though. James Mason running out wide through to... Excuse me, lungs not complying with oxygen. Jesus bloody Christ, almost choked on me on nothing there. On air, it seems air is now deadly important to my body. Back on board these two guys. Oh, down the inside goes Del Boy. There he's licking that stamp and sending it into the head. He's still not getting that move made though on the AlphaTauri in front. Brave from you, sir. Love that. The door was open, I must say, and James Mason very much left the space through the hairpin and on the exit. Great driving there from both drivers involved. Love that from you. Hang on, wait a minute. We've got guys up and down the field having a good old scrap here. Lap 3 of 11 of this first race of the evening. Let's not forget about these gents. Let's not get fixated on 2 cars battling when there's 4 cars up the field. A second adrift of each other. Risky Andy upon his return to league racing for us in the last stages of this sprint league. Now on the back of Flecky in the DRS range he is, and plenty of battery to play with as well. Flecky getting DRS of the car in front. Not being close enough regardless at the minute. Now looking just to follow him through Sector 1. Not many places to overtake through Sector 1. There's a pretty useless DRS zone coming up now. If you're close enough, you can maybe, if you're brave, get a run into the hairpin. We might see it happen now. His name's Risky Andy. Will he take a risk of a dive bomb into the hairpin? Not quite yet. Wise choice as well. We're not remotely close enough there to send it. I might have done, but I'm a little bit of a dick. Flicking now though, surviving to fight another lap at the minute. Senna now on the back of Storm Twister in P6. He's driving well, down 2 positions, but looking to get some of those back on the back of Storm Twister, as I mentioned. Look to follow him through in the Sector 3. Get the DRS into turn 1, hopefully. Mercy as well, just under a second. Time penalty is now being dished out for the drivers up and down the Phil Sinifella with 8 seconds, breaking all the rules tonight. Is Sinifella, it seems, track limits very much not in his mindset for the evening. Del Boy still hounding the back of James Mason at the minute. Wants to get by him in a hurry. I can't imagine Jarrett's going to be wide open now. A lot of battery to play with as well. Overspeed now into turn 1. Second time round 2, but oh, not quite yet. Del Boy being reserved tonight, getting out of that move into turn 1, but he got out of that a little bit heavy, I must confess. For me, there he's been a little bit soft on James Mason. I think he had enough overspeed there to maybe poke half a nose in and make James Mason think about it at least, because now Sinifella has been given the chance to get up the back of Del Boy into the gearbox. He's now tugging after the hairpin. Del Boy caught in an AlphaTauri sandwich, it seems here, being all buttered up in between this loaf of bread. Up the hill, these two guys go. Del Boy now needs to make a choice. Do I attack the guy in front or do I defend from the guy behind me? James Mason up in front of Del Boy with no DRS assistance. So now it's just down to raw driving talent to try and pull away, and then he can leave Del Boy vulnerable to his teammate who's a little bit further behind. So we'll keep on board this for the next lap and a half at least, when DRS gets engaged for Sinifella and Del Boy. See if one of these three can give or take something at least. Del Boy very much on the gearbox, I say, over James Mason. Now DRS enabled, battery being very much dumped and getting that move, getting past the car long before the braking zone into the right round goal. 2 cars very much in sync there, the AlphaTauri and the Red Bull going a right round after turn 1. No contact made as far as what I saw. Both cars, I think, just losing the rear through turn 1, and both cars going round in absolute sync. AlphaTauri and Red Bull very much apparently got a game plan and a sponsorship deal somewhere in the mix to do a ballerina pirouette at the same time through turn 1, it seems, tonight. I don't know, we were self-promoting through the bloody races, but apparently they are. And now unbelievable stuff there from both cars involved. That battle went from being very intense very quickly to now both cars losing out massively, to both of them losing it in the middle of the same bloody corner. Unbelievable stuff there. Let's get further up the field. We've got Kurt Mistro here in the Haas on the back of the Ferrari. DRS enabled for him as well, but the Ferrari down inside into turn 1, he's looking to go, getting that move done, hopefully not quite yet, following the McLaren through now into 2 and 3. Let's get on board him real quick, see how close he is, almost pushing the McLaren through 3, not quite into 4, but again DRS now enabled in what I think is a pretty pointless DRS point on the circuit, but there's not many places rest in sector 2 and 3 to maybe put a DRS zone anyway, so it's most likely either there or nowhere. So he'll look to follow him through now, sector 2 and into 3. Kurt Mistro as well, very much keeping his name in the mix here, being on the back of both cars here. You never know, can very much make up 2 positions here if these guys start squabbling too hard and they both lose out on a little bit of time, or if one of them gets it wrong. Kurt Mistro is in the hot seat to make the most out of these 2 drivers scrapping it out. Now Kurt Mistro's going to have DRS, and so is Fresh Agent. Tempo is going to be a sitting duck here into turn 1 if Fresh Agent can keep close enough after the final corner here and when DRS gets enabled. So is he close enough at the minute? Battery now being deployed. Tempo's light is flashing. That McLaren is being dumped of its life force, but it's been dumped enough to keep that Ferrari behind. Kurt Mistro again still sat there lurking in the wake. Down the field, I'm going to go real quick as I see cars duking it out and changing positions. Flecky on the back of Exotic Planes, who is chasing Risky Andy at the minute through turn 5 into the hairpin. These guys are going to be coming. Risky Andy almost pushing the Alfa Romeo into the hairpin as well. Got a little bit of pace on return, has Risky Andy here as Senna now under pressure from Risky Andy and Exotic Plains behind as well. Oh, as he gets a big slap on! A big slide on does Exotic Plains there up the hill. As I mentioned earlier, some of the traction zones on this circuit are very hard on the rear. And you get that foot down a little bit too early, it's just going to start spooling up and spinning out. But he's done well to catch it there. I will give him that. Losing out though to Flecky in the Red Bull, which frees up the teammate now to attack DSL Senna in P6. Oh, big wash of understeer there though on the exit, but we covered it nicely now. Pinned to the floor through the final corner. Enough battery to play with, not quite, but it should be enough. I think going to try to get a little bit of overspeed into one. Let's get off the offboard. On down the inside now goes Risky Andy getting that move done. Not quite yet. Right round goes the Williams. Maybe a slight kiss on the and a big kiss from somebody else. That Mercy in the Aston Martin, I think, coming through with a glancing blow on the Williams, who was parked up after spinning out on the apex. I think there was a little bit of contact with Risky Andy and Senna. I think as Andy was down the inside, I think he might have just slightly tapped the back right of the Alfa Romeo. I'm not too sure, but we'll hop aboard the guys up the front of the field though, because Kurt Mishra now is hounding the back of this McLaren now. Chris Agent has got that move done at some point whilst I was on board. Two other cars now, which has led him very much compromised to Kurt Mistro in P4 at the minute. Let's get on the onboard of the Haas. See how close he is through the final corner. Got a nice little bit of battery to play with. Not something great, but this circuit's very hard to save battery. I think a lot of drivers have a hard time reserving the battery around this circuit. Tempo a little bit short as well, but so is Kurt Mistro. Still not close enough yet into turn 1. The McLaren lives to fight another day, but Tempo is carrying a 3-second time penalty. So realistically, as long as Kurt Mistro is in the 3-second window of Tempo in front, P3 is his to be had. But people who race don't think that way. You want to get the move made on circuit. Simple as, oh, never mind. 3-second time penalty now for Kurt Mistro, which takes away my entire sentence. Now it's fair game. Now Kurt Mistro has to get past Tempo and hopefully pull away from Storm Twister, who at the moment is only 2.2 seconds behind. So Tempo and Kurt Mistro need to increase their gap to P5 here, or risk losing out, both of them losing out, to Storm Twister in P5. Senna isn't as far adrift as well. Now Flecky on the back of, big snap from the Red Bull there, coming out the hairpin. As we've got 7 tenths behind now is Exotic Plains on DSL Senna. Down the grid we go. AJ on the back of James Mason, very much going to be in DRS range to the Alpha Cherry. Both drivers running no penalties at the minute. Things you love to see. A circuit that can be extremely punishing on track limits, and guys further down the grid keeping the cars within those white lines. Things I do love to see. Gives you the best chance throughout the race to make the most of where you finish. And you don't hinder yourself being yeeted down the field by track limit infringements. Not quite close enough was AJ to turn 1 to get up and have a run on the Alpha Trail. We've got both Mercedes now, like sharks men in blood it seems, of the Alpha Trail. Both Mercedes-Benz within a second of the car in front. Still, getting all kind of out of shape though is Sterling, coming out of the hairpin, getting on the power a little bit too early, losing the rear there and dropping back a couple tenths to his teammate, who is very much still in the hunt to get past James Mason here in P12. Into sector 2 these guys go. Nicely on the brakes is AJ, kind of speed through the apex nicely, as we are looking to see here if he can maybe get past P12 here. It's going to be hard, as not much room to overtake through sector 2 and 3 here. The move is very much into turn 1, last lap of this first race, so it's very much now or never. No points to play for, but very much pride to play for play for none of the less. Not going to get the move done though. No, he is not. Making up into P12 regardless due to penalties of drivers further up the field. So E69 taking P1 there. Fresh Agent in P2. Storm Twister making a big benefit there from the penalties of the guys in front, taking away P3. Kurt Mistro, must say, drove extremely well for P4. Tempo P5, Exotic Plains P6, DSL Bossman in P7, Flecking in Red Bull P8, Mercy P9, Risky Andy taking on points as well in the first race on his return. Top 10 there for you in the first race of the evening. Goodness me, my vocal cords. Woohoo! GG's to all involved there. Great stuff there from everyone up and down the field. Ooh. Cheeky little burnouts. GG to all involved there. So as I mentioned there, E69 P1, Fresh Agent P2, Storm Twister benefiting nicely from some penalties from the guys further up the field, taking P3 in that first race. Lovely stuff from you, matey, doing all the things right, keeping it within the track limits and keeping close enough to benefit from those up ahead. GG's to all drivers there. Great stuff up and down the field. Oh, my vocal cords after that race. Goodness me. Are we having a 5-minute break again? Oh. Perfect. Gives me a chance to run to the little boys' room real quick. So give me 2 seconds, chaps. Be right back. I am back. Apologies for that. Man needed to dash to the toilet. Real quicko. Oh, Nelly, that was certainly something to enjoy, was that first race. Up and down the field. Lads duking it out, battling it out, cleanly, fairly. Hard racing is what we'd love to see. So GG's to everybody. As I'm sure Brian in the black and red hoodie, top right in the spectator seat. Let's not forget Brian from the short qualifying session beginning. My boy Brian there in the black and red t-shirt, still hyped as ever from short qualifying. Very much enjoying the show. Love that from you, Brian. Sorry. Back to P13 after all my oofed, yeah, man. You need some emotion. I said, like, one lap highlight of the person from a 4,000 points except. Yeah. 33 tomorrow. Is it your birthday tomorrow? We're celebrating a birthday in the Discord tomorrow. 33 years young. Getting old, mate. I am. Well, I'm not gonna disclose my name, but well, my age. Sorry, my name. Everyone knows my name by now, but my age. But I'm not that far behind you, sir. But if I don't mention it tomorrow and don't get the chance to speak to you tomorrow, happy birthday for tomorrow, my guy. Hope you have a good day and a good night. All that good stuff. Mate, you are absolutely welcome, brother. Absolutely. 6 months left to being 33. Oh. I thought you were like 42. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I joke. So we go in a few moments. A couple of minutes until lights out for the second race. I believe it was 33 laps, I think, for the second race of the evening. So now obviously pit stops come into play during the race. Always spices things up. Although someone mentioned some rain for the first race, and that never happened. And it looks very much cracking flags now for the second race of the evening. So I'm going to assume that rain isn't coming. Although we all know how the weather on this game works, and sometimes it goes from being sunny to monsoon within 3/4 of a lap. Middle finger there from AJ in chat. Not impressed with the age joke there. Naturally so, I would imagine. As E69 said there, good luck to all drivers involved for the second race. Have fun, most importantly. Let's absolutely rock it. Just like we did in the first one for the second race of the evening. If only. Well, you look 33, Turbo. You look 33, matey. So you're absolutely fine, Chief. Yeah, well. Hey, it is what it is, unfortunately. I'm I'm tiny. It is what it is. Man's 5'6" at a bush. Don't at me. Top 3 predictions. Ooh. I'm thinking Fresh Agent P1. Yourself P2. And I couldn't pick you at 3. Because there's a couple of drivers there where P3 is going to be contested. I think we are going to be underway in a minute. Is what we are going to be. Half a minute. Yeah, just turn 1 calamity. Top 5 get absolutely disintegrated into turn 1. Things you love to see. A cigarette. Yes, sir. Quick drink. As lights out is about to be very much the case. As lights out and away we go for the second race of the evening. I pressed the wrong button, but we'll leave it as it is for now. As the two Alpines going into turn one there. One running very much out. Wow, oh, Calamity at the back there in the middle. Those are McLaren going right round in the middle. Yes, there was a Haas as well being caught up in a little bit of carbon fiber splattering. I think 4 or 5 cars are getting caught up in a little bit of a shitstorm into one. I've got cars slowing down for illegal overtakes, I think, as well. Cars are absolutely everywhere in the middle. Down the inside now goes AJ into the hairpin on one kidney. Great move there. Love that, as cars are just trying to reset a little bit now in the midst of lap 1. Fucking Calamity into turn 1. Sterling now on the back of the McLaren. Let's get on to the onboard real quick. On the hard tyre is Sterling. I would imagine the hard to mediums is the way for tonight. I'm not too sure. Could be talking absolute bollocks there when it comes to tyre strategies. I'm not the tyre man. Don't at me. But I'm going to assume hard to mediums is going to be a good strategy for tonight. The softs around here in practice earlier burned up very, very quickly. So we'll keep an eye on the tyres with the drivers tonight. We've got Sterling now through the final corner. Here comes Wunkin Jim now flying into the pit lane, I believe. Yes, he is. So we'll get further up the field, get on board some action. Speaking of action, AJ making moves in the second race right now into turn 3. He goes, getting a move done on Del Boy in the Red Bull now up the hill of 4 and 5 on the exit. As gentle as you can be mid-corner. The rear is very much easier to get loosey-goosey up that hill into the hairpin. He comes. AJ now making up 10 positions in this second race. Abzi as well making up 10 positions. Great stuff from the Mercedes-Benz and the Aston Martin boys tonight so far in the second race of the DSL Sprint League around Portimao, Portugal is where we are tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Not only used for Formula 1, used for MotoGP as well. And let me tell you, those superbikes look unbelievable around here, just as the F1 cars do as well. Del Boy now under pressure from the other Mercedes-Benz right now. Sterling now seeing AJ get by and thinking, I want some of that as well, good man. Let me get involved, as he's now pushing this Red Bull down the final corner on the gearbox. Around the outside, here you go, Del Boy diving into the pit lane. Yes, he is. That is twice now in 2 laps where Sterling has been on the back of a car, and there's an overtake going to be made, and he's just gone into the pit lane. Completely blocked me of excitement there. Looking to see an overtake being made. Nonetheless, Sterling moving up 1 position with Del Boy diving into the pit lane. So now we've got Sterling and AJ. 2 of the Mercedes boys now, P8 and P9. James Mason 10 seconds adrift of Abzi, who has now caught the pack of cars at the front here. 5 tenths behind the Ferrari Earth's agent, who is down 2 positions in P4. 6 tenths behind Exotic Place, who went a little bit deep there into turn 9, I think it is. I could be wrong. It's Mr. Blaine's now in P3 as well. 6 tenths adrift. Where's the camera gone there? That took an eternity for the cars to come out of that corner. Just seeing landscape and blue skies. Don't get me wrong, looks pretty, but we need cars in that photo to make it look perfect. And here the cars come into the final corner, into the DRS. They are going to be a train forming here on the cars in front, and the train leader, the pack leader I should say, 2.5 seconds adrift to Storm in P2 into the Alpine, very much in his own little world tonight, it seems, is Mr. E69. He's got some go-go juice around Portimao. Storm Twister is lagging everywhere. This man is running on AOL dial-up internet into this hairpin. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's been an issue now for about 3.5 years. Get it sorted out, you cheapskates. Get that internet upgraded. In P2 is Laggy Twister 44. Mr. Dial-Up himself. That is now his new nickname for the rest of the leagues that he races in, is Mr. Dial-Up, being chased by Exotic Planes in P3 in the Williams. The driver standings leader and also the constructors leader, very much adrift in both fronts. I can very much say So with comfortability is that he is a decent chunk of points ahead of any contenders in P2. Fresh Agent 8 tenths behind him as well. Abzi 5.5 tenths behind Fresh Agent. DRS, Barry being dumped, trying to get up the back of the man in P3. Get a run in turn 1, maybe gaining, still gaining, swinging out a little bit, letting him know he's there. Love that from the car behind. Sometimes the move don't need to be made. Just fill up that guy's mirrors, keep him thinking, keep the driver on their toes. Love that from the Aston Martin. Love that. I do. As the Mercedes-Benz guys chopping and changing in P8 and P7 under DRS. Love that. No team orders here as these two drivers very much, don't get me wrong, know each other, race with each other for a long time, and it will be as fair and as hard as they are both very much capable of doing. But what I do love seeing is no team orders and both drivers battling it out no matter what livery you are sporting. We'll keep an eye on the Mercedes-Benz lads having a little scrapperoonie up the field. Redding as well having a little bit of a ding-dong on the back of Angry Davy P in the Alfa Romeo. Love to see this from Redding, is him being on the attack for a change. He is very much too generous on circuits sometimes, I must say, which is certainly not a bad thing. It's very much a showcase to the man's character, but he's too nice on circuit. He'll not fight you too hard, kind of let you go by if he knows you a little bit quicker. So it's nice to see here now Redding being on the attack here on the back of Angry Davy P. Looking to get pie. Looking to get pie. Hopefully Redding gets some pie into the final corner here. Hopefully he goes past the pit lane, gets a nice big whiff of freshly baked, just pastry. You know what I mean? Something or another. Overspeed though, sends it into turn 1. Redding FC20. The man, the myth, has gone in far too deep though, but I love just the sheer stones of the man there, getting the overspeed and sending it into turn 1. We've gone from pie to Redding, absolutely licking that stamp and sending it into turn 1, going in a little bit too hot though, not getting that car stopped for 2 and then losing out into 3, but still on the back of Angry Davy P nonetheless. So we'll absolutely keep on board Redding and Angry Davy P right now. Oh, get a big tank slapper up the hill. Does Redding there. The rear's getting all kind of spooled up and hot under the collar. Losing the grip there on the rear tyres. Still close enough though. Is Redding to just be a pain in the ass and keep in the DRS range, hopefully into turn 1 again. We are absolutely staying here now until this move either gets made done or Angry Davy P moves away, because I love seeing this. Is Redding being on the attack of a car in front. So let's see if this move now can be made stick into turn 1. DRS now enabled, and let's get on board. Let's watch the gain here when he's dumping his battery into 1. Not quite close enough yet this time around. Oh, it goes in a little bit deep though. Does Angry Davy P. Not deep enough though to lose out on a lot of gain and time into 4 and 5. These two guys come. DRS again for Redding. Battery very much being dumped in the Alfa Romeo. We've got one more lap here is what we will do. We'll give Redding one more lap to get this move made before we go up the grid. Look, we can't forget about the guys up ahead. I'm looking at that minimap. I'm seeing skittle dots everywhere. I'm seeing guys battling it out up and down the sectors on the bottom right of my screen. So we will give Redding this lap to show us what he's made of, to see if he can get this move made on Angry Davy P in front in that Haas, who is defending extremely well. Let's not forget about the man in front. It's not all about Redding, who is attacking. He's defending very well. Is Angry Davy P in the Haas? Can he defend though once again, as round 3 now is about to get underway? Ring that bell, timekeeper, please, because round 3 is about to get started. Round the final corner, these two guys go. Foot plinged to the floor. The racing's so good, we're making up fucking words at the DSL Racing League. Not enough battery though to get on the attack. Portimao, the overspeed here, the tow you can gain is mega, but you need that battery to make the most out of being close enough. Right, that is 3 laps of Redding's genius. Let's get up the field and see who else is causing drivers a little bit of pain and misery, as we've got Kurt Mistro on the back of Del Boy. Mertzi 5.5 seconds adrift, so we'll keep on board the guy in P17 for the minute, because again we've got a Kurt Mistro in the Haas, we've got a Del Boy in the Red Bull, not Haas, was it the Haas? Am I seeing things? Yes, the Haas, sorry, the Haas of Kurt Mistro. My eyes saw an AlphaTauri there. Oh, voice break of the night. Del Boy getting a little bit slidey. Kurt Mistro getting the exit there, getting a lot better traction on the rears on that soft tyre, I believe. Yes, it is. And getting past Del Boy, making that a little bit of a mistake on the hairpin on the exit there. Again, it goes uphill. It's so easy just to get the power down. Little bit too early when you're going up the hill on this circuit. It's like a roller coaster. How superbikes drive this circuit, it must feel incredible. As I mentioned, like a roller coaster. It's up and down, it's moving up and down, side to side, like a roller coaster, to quote Lando Norris's team radio for McLaren. But Kurt Mistro now very much not done with making moves. Down the inside of Sinefella into the final corner he goes, and I think getting DRS. Yes, he has, but Kurt Mistro, Sinefella not giving this up. Del Boy not giving this up. 3 going into 1. Down the inside he goes. Contact made was always going to happen. 3 never makes 1 into turn 1 on any circuit, lads. I can assure you that. Lads not yielding. Red Bull and Haas, I believe it was, making contact, or was it the AlphaTauri? Not too sure. No, the Haas it was, but Del Boy being the biggest loser into turn 1. Never going to work, ladies and gentlemen. 3 into turn 1 is never going to give, and someone's got to give, and no one wanted to give. So that contact was made, and Del Boy has lost out there the biggest. I think, yes, he has. On back aboard Redding we go, because he's the closest man to a car on circuit, getting a little bit squabbly on the exit out of the hairpin in sector 3, but still 2.5 tenths behind. No, now a second adrift, but Flecky making moves. Yes, he is on the Ferrari of Turbo into turn 1, getting that move done long before the braking zone on the hard compound tyre, looking to go the long game, and now on the back of Abzi as well. Flecky is very much checked in this lap and said, let's get 2 cars. I'm feeling feisty and I'm feeling quick on these hard tyres. DRS now enabled into the hairpin. He goes off the board. Yes, we will. Down the inside late on the brakes. Abzi being very generous there with the space. I must say he's left at least 2.5 cars width on the apex. Not wanting to fight that at the minute, unless he's got a little bit of damage. No, he has not. Very unusual there from Abzi. I think he thought Flecky might have gone in a little bit deep and kind of overcompensating and give Flecky a lot more room than what he warranted, really. Flecky was on the brakes nicely and got that car slowed down long before the apex. Abzi losing that a little bit there, purely down to his own generosity. But nonetheless, Flecky making that move into the hairpin and now got a little bit of clean air to catch the Mercedes-Benz up in front. Let's mention the Mercedes-Benz of AJ up 10 positions right now. P7, great recovery drive given the unfortunate penalty he got during qualifying, which was no fault of his own. So great drive from him as Kurt Mistro gets a penalty. Let's bring up penalties actually whilst we are here. James Mason holding 3 seconds. Angry David P going to be raging about that 6-second time penalty. Redding holding 3 as well. Kurt Mistro, Mertzi, Tempo and Wunkini Jim, the other drivers with penalties. Also, let me take a drink real quick because my throat is absolutely baggering. Oh, there we go. Woohoo! Vocal cords were taking a thumping then. Speaking of taking thumpings, the gearbox of Kurt Maestro might be taking a thumping very shortly, because Merzo, I've combined Maestro and Merzi in the same gamer tag there, and we've come out with Merstro, is what we've done. My brain is top tier. With Merzi, is what I was trying to say, was 4 tenths behind Kurt Maestro, and having DRS to maybe make a move into the hairpin, but my brain was put on stun apparently. But up the field I'm gonna go, because now Flecky, now I've got a good little battle on here, a little bit of a showcase of giants, so to speak, as Flecky and AJ, both moderator for a streamer at one point, a part of the same team. Down inside he goes into turn 1, getting that move. Oh, AJ getting a phenomenal run though, through 2 and into 3. Flecky got the move made into 1. But AJ has carried some ungodly apex speed into 2 and 3 then, getting back by in what looked like it was cartoonish. The traction that Mercedes-Benz had through 2 and 3, great stuff there from Yusa. Love that. Now Flecky under pressure now from Abzi behind in P9 in the Aston Martin. Let's hop on board here actually, as he's got a front row seat to these Titans battling for P7 at the minute. Now Flecky though losing out a couple of tenths to AJ going up the hill. AJ now getting a little bit of a gap, but not a big enough gap yet to pull away from Flecky out of the DRS range. We'll keep on board, but we'll keep an eye on the Delta and see if he can pull away from Flecky before the DRS line that is coming up momentarily. Not quite yet pulling away, 8 tenths, 6.5 tenths now. Abzi though, trying to make a move around the outside, not quite yet. In fact, maybe so, round the final corner. Now cut back in a little bit, get into the slipstream. No, round the outside is Abzi option. He's got a lot of overspeed here. Better run around the outside, apparently a lot more grip around there. The last place I'm thinking is more grip on the outside of the circuit. Nonetheless, getting that move made around the outside, not needing DRS, just using his natural pace and the great run that he's got there around the outside of the Red Bull, around the final corner, and getting that move made nicely indeed. Great stuff there from the Aston Martin. AJ now in his own little world for the minute, but now Abzi very much on the back of him as well. I've said it once and I'll say it again, Abzi doesn't take cars in ones. He's a very much a 2-a-car kind of guy. He wants 2 in 1. Every time he starts making moves, it's either 2 cars at once into turn 1, or it's 2 cars in 1 lap. On the back of the Mercedes-Benz now is Abzi in the Aston Martin, 3 tenths behind now. Into sector 3, these 2 guys are going to go. Looking to tuck in now behind is Abzi, doing nothing drastic into the hairpin. Be as close as you can be without compromising yourself and the car in front. Use the DRS into turn 1. And jobs are good and very much an easy move to make if you are close enough. Into the final corner, these 2 guys go. Tucking in behind. DRS now enabled. Battery going to be deployed. Yes, it is, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll mention it again at some point. Hello, Flecky! Almost making the move as well on AJ. Trying to poke his nose into the mixer. AJ almost getting swamped by 2 cars into 1, not to be for this lap, as AJ now on under pressure. Well, not quite yet, but close enough, just to let him know he's present. 5 tenths behind is Flecky, but now he's got a 3-second penalty, so that very much compromises him now in this battle. Abzi getting that move made. James Mason now on the back of Storm Twister, up further up the field in the Alpha turn. We'll keep on board this real quick, see how this pans out with the young man, see if he can get that move made into turn 1, as I try and move my phone so I can see more of the circuit. There we go. 13% battery for James Mason. Storm on a healthy percent of battery at the moment, so defense should be relatively easy for the Alpine in front. Also nice pull away a couple of tenths now into the final corner, so we'll hop down the grid for the moment. Flecky now in DRS range of the Mercedes-Benz in front. We'll see if he's got enough battery to make this move stick. Not quite yet, not using it though, just letting the DRS pull him ever so closer to the gearbox of that Mercedes-Benz. into turn 3. These are going to come down the inside, maybe not quite. Yeah, that moves there if you've got to run through 1 and 2, but not if you just want. If you're looking to send it into there, not quite yet. Second dose of DRS now for Flecky into the hairpin. Again, not quite close enough to get a move made, but close enough to be a pain in the ass. Getting a wash of oversteer mid-corner there, and on the exit for Easy to do. Done it plenty of times myself. Down the field real quick. Got Mercy on the back of Cinderfella, but he's carrying a 3-second time penalty. So let's just scoot back up real quick as we've got Flecky almost pushing AJ there through one. I think Flecky's going to. Let's try again. Let's reset the lips. I think Flecky's made a little bit of contact on the back of the Mercedes-Benz in front, going into the braking zone, causing AJ to get out of shape. And then, as we saw, Flecky then got on the brakes, so AJ didn't then lose time. And Flecky gained nothing from the contact sportsmanship there from both parties as AJ now dives into the pit lane. Speaking of pit lane, let's bring up tyres. There we go. Very much hard tyres being everyone's choice for the race this afternoon, well, this evening, I should say, as one kidney Jane retired from the race at some point. I did not see that on circuits. I don't know whether that was a pit lane retirement or a DNF. There was no yellow sectors, so that may just be a pit lane retirement as the move gets made down the inside of turn 1. Not quite move made yet into 2, yes, into 3, possibly so. Keeping the nose interested is Mercy into 3, round the outside of 4, switchback maybe, no, round the outside goes Mercy in the Aston Martin, now up into P10, into the hairpin, now down the inside goes Cinderfella, not quite yet in the Alpha Tauri. Mercy getting that move made around the outside. Love that from USAID, now looking to maybe pull away, try and make up the deficit of that 3-second time penalty. But we'll be boxing soon, I would imagine, to get that 14-lap-old medium compound tyre off that car. Speaking of compounds of tyres, as we can see, the white wall hard tyre is all of the range for the moment. Every driver barring one onto the hard tyres. Some drivers just recently boxing for a fresh set of boots. So what we got as far as a fresh set of boots for the lads: Storm Twister on a 3-lap-old set of hard tyres, AJ on a 1-lap-old set of hard tyres, Senna, Angry David P, Turbo Kurt Mistro, Redding Del Boy and Tempo 4K all on a relatively new set of hard tyres. Now up the field real quick as now we see the pack runners boxing for the tyre change. I would imagine a set of mediums until the finish is the way to go here. I think I mentioned earlier that hard to mediums is the strategy around Portimao. Soft tyres burn up far too quickly around here. The tyre degradation on the soft tyres is mega. The hards hold up really well and the mediums nicely also. And just as I've just said, Mr. Plains onto the medium tyres he goes now until the end of the race. I would imagine the front runners also will be opting for the same strategy. Let's get down the field. Let's keep an eye on some of these deltas. Who's the closest car on circuit? Oh, excuse me as I take a quick drink, as my throat is taking an absolute pounding tonight. It seems we've got Senna here chasing AJ in the Mercedes at the minute, going to be in DRS range if my eyes don't deceive me. Yes, he is. Plenty of battery as well to play with, as we've got a retiree in the pit lane. Yes, we have Mercy there retiring in the pit lane in the Aston Martin. Senna not quite close enough to get the move done into 1, but close enough to get slightly closer to the back of AJ into 4 and 5. AJ going a little bit deep there though. Getting all out of shape, giving Senna the run into the hairpin. Down the inside he goes onto the racing line after getting that move made. Good stuff there from Senna, making the most out of the mistake from the car in front now. AJ took it in though nicely behind. 3/10 a grid, didn't lose out massively with the mistake. Yes, lost out on the position, but managed to maintain being close enough afterwards, as we've seen drivers here picking up penalties left, right and centre. I mentioned earlier in a party to a couple of the lads around here is going to be punishing for a few guys on circuit with penalties. The turn 1 exit, if you run out wide, the track limits there pings you straight away. Through sector 2 there is a couple corners that pings you straight away on track limit. As moves being made up the infielder, as we've got E69 F1 with no front wing in the Alpine, but still fighting like an absolute titan nonetheless. How this F1 car is keeping on circuit with no front wing, I do not know, but the Ferrari pulling away. There we go. Now we're seeing the damage very much showcasing and hindering the handling of the Alpine right now. No front wing, as I mentioned, needs to box and get that wing put back on to get the most out of that car. As we got exotic planes now in the Williams, very much in a well zone, carrying a 3-second time penalty, yes, but 8.5 seconds up the road in the Williams. Fresh agent now chasing him down, hopefully can get within the 3-second window. So on Twister, I think getting past E69 as well as yes, into pit lane he goes for a new front wing. So now Storm Twister, again, just like he did in the first race, making the most of some unfortunate errors from the guys in front. He finds himself again in P3. Great stuff from you, sir. Doing all the right things right, keeping your nose clean, not exceeding track limits, penalty free, front wing all intact, and making the most out of the mistakes of the drivers further up the field. Sometimes it's not all about raw pace, a little bit of racecraft goes a long way. GG's to you, sir. Let's see if you can maintain and hold P3 for the rest of this race. So we've got E69 now, who's just potted. He's potted apparently. He's pitted. Goodness gracious me, he's pitted for a new front wing and a set of soft tyres. I like that call, to be honest with you. Fuck it, is what he said. Caution to the wind. I'm just going to be the fastest I can be for the rest of this second race of the evening. And I like that. Sometimes I just bugger it. Why not? Let's fling this car around and let's see what can happen for the last 10 laps, 10 plus laps of the second race of the evening, as he's on the back of Risky Andy on the hard tyres. The speed difference for the first few laps is going to be very much noticeable on these soft tyres around here. For the first few laps, you can tell, and they feel great. But at some point, you've got to let off the throttle a little bit. Excuse me, I do apologise. And you have to go then into tyre management, because they do get burned up very quickly around here. So we will keep an eye on where he finds himself at the end of this race. We've got tyres going off for drivers up and down the field. Risky Andy going on to the mediums. Yes, he is. Senna getting by there under the pit stops now, holding P9. AJ going around the outside of Risky Andy, coming out the pit lane there. Brave, bold and beautiful from the Mercedes-Benz. Who's going right round there? Was I seeing things? I'm absolutely seeing. Oh, AJ goes right round, in fact. Oh, contact made as well. Risky Andy getting caught up in the Mercedes-Benz, going around at the top of the hill. Get Mishra almost, very well, I should say, avoiding that collision. Now getting the move made on Andy into the hairpin, getting all kind of slidey himself on the hard tyres. AJ making the mistake into 4 and 5, getting on the power too early. Those hard tyres not quite up to temperature, getting all kind of out of shape and sliding, unfortunately collecting Risky Andy in the process. That just got a face full of Mercedes-Benz as he came over the brow of that hill. That is unfortunate there, but not much that could be done from both parties involved. Anyway, let's get up the right gizmos, or the fun gizmos. Positions change, yes, yes. So naturally so, because we've had a flurry of pit stops, deltas and gaps are going to start to flatten out a little bit. There's not going to be as many cars battling it out on circuit, as Risky Andy gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Naughty, naughty. Tut, very much living up to the gamer tag there and risking it all to get as late as he could do on the brakes entering the pit. And the risk wasn't worth it in the end. The McLaren now of tempo getting the move made into turn 1, dumping the battery. The DRS very much being the assistance into turn 1, looking to pull some positions back in the latter stages of this race. Del Boy 1.5 seconds adrift of the car in front. So the closest cars on circuit at the minute. Oh, hello. Never mind, we've got Angry David P taking the scenic route through Sector 2, getting onto the grass and into the gravel. So AJ making up another position into P11. Bring up penalties real quick. See who's rocking what as I take a drink momentarily. Oh. There we go. So, track limits being breached up and down the field. We've mentioned that a few times tonight already, so this will be the last time. But track limits around here are a little bit of a dick. I'll put it bluntly. I'll put it as grown up as gamers would understand. These track limits around here can be a little bit of a dick. Some corners are okay, some corners aren't. Some exits are okay, some exits are a little bit harsh. So drivers here up and down the field carrying a fair dinkum amount of penalties. Mr. Plains in P1 carrying 3. Storm Twister now carrying 3 as well. Absy as well, 3 seconds. Flecky 3 seconds. James Mason carrying 3 as well. Kurt Maestro carrying 3. AJ carrying 5 seconds. Oof, that's going to sting once this race finishes. Although Angry David P behind him carrying 17 seconds. So unless Cinefella, never mind. As AJ picks up another time penalty for track limits, now taking that tally up to 8 seconds. So does Angry David P now with 20 seconds. Goodness gracious me, penalties now starting to sound like lottery numbers. They're going up and down the field, increasing every chance I get to read them. Delboy with 3, Tempo 14, Risky Andy with 5 for the speeding in the pit lane infringement, and Redding carrying 6 as well. So tyres, we've got guys on mediums, guys on softs. Risky Andy, Redding and E69 on the soft tyre. The rest of the chaps on a set of mediums. So the gap's now very much dwindling up and down the field. Although I say that as James Mason and Kurt Maestro are currently in the middle of a right old little ding-dong, it seems, coming into Sector 2 and down into the hairpin. Now up the very awkward hill. I must say, the exit there is absolute dogger. No one likes that exit on this game, mostly if you run no traction control on this game on your assist. That exit is horrendous. You can get it all kind of wrong through there. Now, James Mason falling back, Oh, big spin in the AlphaTauri right round, baby. Goes James Mason, as I was trying to get my words together, trying to say that he's fallen back a couple of tenths, now fallen back a couple of seconds after lighting up those rear tyres in the AlphaTauri. Not what you want to see from the young man. He's making that very important mistake in the, the last hit. Oh, Jesus Christ, hiccups are murdering me tonight. That is not what I need during F1 commentary, is a cheeky bit of hiccups here and there. But What I do need is guys on circuit having a good old scrap though. Is down into turn 3 he goes. Cinderfella getting that move made on Angry Davy P. Now being pressured by Del Boy. As I mentioned, always a menace is Del Boy on circuit, getting this move hopefully made into the hairpin. Down the inside, maybe not quite yet. We'll keep on board this for a lap and a half. As we've got an we've got an E69 retiring from the race. In the pit lane. Oh, you got me all excited there for a crash. But E69 retiring in the pit lane. I don't think the soft tyre was working out as much as he was hoping for, opting to bitch out for the last stages of this race. Not too sure why we couldn't just finish the race and enjoy the drive nonetheless. But I digress. Down the field we are going to go. We'll bring up positions change and intervals of the drivers. Turbo now getting a penalty as well. A few seconds going on to his tally as we've got the leader of the race up 5 positions. First Agent in P2, maintaining P2 I may add. Storm Twister again holding his own in P3, maintaining where he started. Abzi making up the most in this second race, up 11 positions but carrying a penalty of 3 seconds, so we'll keep on board that for the last stage to see where that puts him. If Sterling in P5, who is up 7 positions, great drive from him in the second race, looking comfortable as ever. Flecking up to DSL Senna holding position in P7. Kurt Mishro down 4 in P8. Jez Mason recovering from that recent spin into the hairpin up to AJ. Again, a strong drive up 7 positions, given where he started under the circumstances that arose in short qualifying. That is a decent recovery drive nonetheless. Cinefella up 2 positions. Angry David P up 8. Again, a good drive from you, sir. Tonight up 8 positions, making up a small handful of gains. Love that from you. Del Boy up 1, Risky Andy down 4, Redding up 1, and Turbo up 1 in P16, as Tempo, I believe, has retired in the pit lane as well, as we come round lap 28 of 33 of round 9 of the DSL Sprint League. It has been an action-packed race, up and down the field. Speaking of action, let's not miss any action, as AJ now on the back of James Mason. Let's bring up penalties real quick. Let's see if the battle is worth anything on circuit. Not quite, but the battle for pride and ego is very much worth watching, so we'll keep on board these two guys for the moment. Is 7 tenths behind James Mason right now. In fact, Del Boy is the closest man to a car on circuit, 5.5 tenths behind Angry Davy P, carrying 23 seconds worth of penalties. Hoo-wee. Track limits have been breached up and down the field by Angry Davy P tonight, but he has kept the car going on circuit regardless. Del Boy almost going into the gearbox there of the hat of Angry Davy P into the hairpin. Being caught out there by how hard Angry Davy P got onto the brakes. Still within DRS range nonetheless, so we'll see if he can get a nice chunk of overspeed into turn 1. Angry Davy P defending very aggressively there, breaking that toe nice and early. Not giving Del Boy a remote sniff into turn 1. Speaking of going into turn 1 though, AJ very much regained a couple of tenths on James Mason into the hairpin. These two guys now go very much now a battle over the exits out of the hairpin into the next corner now. Get that move made, not quite yet. Looking to follow him now and tucking behind up the hill. Not an overtaking spot that I would usually use and most drivers would say no to, but if the chance arises, you've got to take it, I should say. As Ayrton Senna said, if you no longer go for a gap, then you're not a racing driver. Very much trying to go for the gap there was AJ in the Mercedes-Benz behind James Mason in the latter stages of this race. Now close enough. And in DRS race now just needs to tuck in behind the AlphaTauri. Oh, get the loosey-goosey though on the exit, losing it out now onto the car in front and now to the car behind. I think that was Turbo going behind. I think, no, it was not. I think it was Fresh Agent, actually, who is in P2. Yes, it was. So blue flags would have been raised. Waved. Vocabulary is hard in the dying stages of this race, but blue flags would have been waved regardless. James Mason will be getting the same treatment in a moment. Blue flags now being waved for the back markers. Getting out of the way does James Mason very nicely, but unfortunately that's going to compromise now James Mason to the car behind. That is unfortunate now. The blue flags are being waved at a very bad point of the circuit for James. Granted, penalty is to be played. AJ has 8 seconds, James has 6. So if AJ doesn't get by, he's not going to make a if he does get by but doesn't pull away, James Mason will get that place back anyway due to the penalties. But the guys on circuit want to race anyway. As I mentioned, it doesn't matter about penalties. If you're racing for position, you take away the penalties mentally, because if the battle is worth it and the battle is good, you enjoy it nonetheless. So we'll keep an eye on these two guys, as they are the closest guys on circuit, I think. In fact, I think Del Boy and Miss Gandhi also having a ding-dong down the field for P13 and P12. One guy on hards, the other guy on soft tyres. Look at the grip difference there around the outside. Goes Risky Andy on the soft tyre, but he's going to very much compromise himself now to the guy behind. He's going to get the DRS and the run back into turn 1. In the corners, the soft tyres will save you, but down the straights, it doesn't mean a thing. Into turn 1 now, these go. But Risky Andy getting the run around the outside still. The soft tyres, very much the grippy tyre at the minute. AJ, though, on the back of James Mason, still hounding the back of the gearbox of the AlphaTauri into Sector 2. These two chaps go still absolutely duking it out, scrapping it out again, like there was in the dying stages of the first race of the evening. Things you love to see is drivers still battling it out and just ignoring the fact that you have penalties on the board, because as I mentioned 30 seconds ago, sometimes it's all about the battle. If the battle's good, it shouldn't matter where you finish, because the battling during has been just as enjoyable. Speaking of enjoyable, down the outside, AJ maybe went on James Mason there. The move not being made yet. Oh, he's pushing those top limits in the final corner now, washing out a little bit with the understeer now, but DRS enabled. The battery being dumped, the battery now depleted, pushing the top speed to its absolute limit now into turn 1. Down the inside, holding around the outside, just James Mason tries to. Very much breaching track limits on the outside there, losing out into 1, 2, and 3. AJ now getting that move made. As I mentioned, time penalties going to come into play regardless, but as a driver, you give yourself a little high five there, saying, nice, I've chased that guy down, I've made that move, and I've made it stick. GG's to myself, and more so to the driver involved, for making the racing fair, hard, and enjoyable. Things you love to see. James Mason not giving it up though, 6.5 tenths behind. Doughboy as well not giving it up on the car in front, 7 tenths of drift. We'll keep an eye on that. Also got screwed by the game, mate, so bad. Oh mate, that's crappy, dude. Let me know what happened, my guy in chat, as I'm curious. Oh, AJ getting all kind of out of shape though, coming out of the hairpin. Those hard tyres been a little bit of a thorn in his side on this stint, losing out onto James Mason on the last lap of this race. Well, what was going to be the last lap of the race. So down the field real quick for the last time tonight. We've got Exotic Plains in P1, 16 seconds adrift in a world of his own. First Agent, a very good drive from him in P2. Let's bring up positions gained. Not gained anything through the race, but done everything right nonetheless. Storm Twister going to be taking another podium, I think, in this second race. Let's bring up penalties one moment. Yes, he will be a second podium for him tonight. Love that from you. Abzi in P4, going to be bringing home a strong drive, making up a handful of positions as well, up 11 positions. Great drive from him in P4. Sterling having a strong drive in the Mercedes-Benz, again keeping his nose clean in P5. Flecky going to be P6 at the moment, I would imagine. Senna behind him as well, keeping his nose clean. Things you love to see. Well, after a race check, drivers will not respond to a good. Wait, we'll deal with it afterwards, Stacks. All good, man. So deal with it afterwards. But for now, as far as I'm aware, that is all the drivers getting the checkered flag. Yes, it is. So we see the penalty has been applied there up and down the field. Yes, they have. So the checkered flag is being waved. Exotic Planes taking P1, a fresh age at P2. Storm Twisted, GG's to you, sir. So that is two podiums in one night. Abzi, very strong drive, up 11. Sterling up 7. Great drive from you, sir. Flecky, a comfortable drive in P2. Senna, cozy in P. Hey, I was reading that. I was reading that. GG to all lads, up and down the field. Man, Storm Buddy, GG's, matey. Hands down, my guy. Earlier, you was having a hard time, mate, on circuit. You was looking a little bit wobbly. And earlier, and I'll quote you actually, a qualifying merchant is what we said earlier. And you pulled out 2 fucking good drives there, buddy. So, GG to you, matey. Absolutely. Good drives. Credit where it is firmly due. Yeah, no safety cars, no safety cars, no VSCs. Imagine that. No VSCs, no safety cars. Look at my 5 seconds. Fair enough, no worries, matey. So we'll go through all the proceedings and all that jazz after the race. But for now, let me finish up this side of my things. As the first race and the second race was both extremely enjoyable. Love that from you both. So the first race of the evening, E69 now on time, P1. First Agent P2 and Storm Twister in P3. Kept Mutual Tempo as Exotic Planes, Diesel Senna, Flecky, Mercy, Risky Andy making up the rest of the grid. And the second race, Exotic Planes taking P1 this time. First Agent doubling up on his P2s for the night. Love that from you, matey. And Storm Twister, the Manda Myth, the qualifying merchant, has pulled out 2 drives that have been mega, taking up 2 podiums, P3 in both races. GG's to you and all involved. Love that. Great stuff from everybody up and down the field. Mega from everybody. So naturally so, lads. Any clips, get them clipped, get them sent in. We'll deal with it as we always do. All that fun stuff. What we don't need is the Discord being spammed in the drivers chat full of angry, ragey drivers. So if I go off stream tonight and open up our Discord and there is shit going off, the chat will be muted and you'll just not have the ability to speak for the rest of the night whilst we sort things. We don't need it, y'all don't need it, I don't need it. So if there is anything going on in Discord after the race, can we not? We will simply just make it so you can't speak and then your emotions are being wasted. Let's be grown up and not children. Thank you, lads. So, first race, fantastic. Short qualifying, fantastic. Second race, again, We've ticked 3 boxes tonight, so GG's up and down the field. That is going to be me away for the commentary stint, for the stuff for tonight. I've been your host, Handsome46, Adam for those that know me personally. As always, it's been a pleasure, never a chore, to get in, watch these guys on circuit do what they do best, which is provide me and all of you a decent night of hard, fair racing. Have a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend when that rolls around. Much love. Have a great night, everyone. And I will catch you all next Wednesday for the finale of the DSL Sprint League around Austria, I believe. So it's going to be exciting, it's going to be rapid, it's going to be fast and furious, and it's going to be a belter. I can promise you that. Until next time, until next week, goodbye, have a great evening. Ta-ra for now.